Following the formulation of the Gambia's Forced National Migration Policy 2020-2030, the International Organization for Migration has been working closely with the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration and Employment and other relevant stakeholders through the National Coordination Mechanisms Labor Migration Thematic Working Group to formulate a labor migration strategy that effectively speaks to the national migration policy. Thus, IOM, in collaboration with the Ministry of Trade, has on Monday launched the labor migration strategy at a local hotel. The Gambia for decades has been a country of origin, transit and destination of persons from one state to another for the purpose of employment. Therefore, this labor migration strategy will serve as a blueprint to guide the Gambia to uphold its commitment to international, regional and national instruments governing labor migration.
Bring in the Honorable Minister to launch this document. In the first instance, I want to say that the migration sector is indeed an important sector, not only for Gambia, but the entire globe. And it has called for attention, it has called for expertise, it has called for resources to intervene to ensure that we have a very smooth sailing to overcome the challenges that we face on a daily basis.
A significant number of Gambians are living abroad, almost proportionate to the number of migrants to come into the Gambia. This strategy will provide protection and access services to both Gambian labor migrants and foreigners living in the Gambia. It will also promote collaboration between migrant workers, trade unions, and employment organizations in the Gambia. The program coordinator at the International Organization for Migration says his institution has been working closely with the government of the Gambia to promote a safe, orderly, regular migration.
Today, we are gathered here to witness a historic launch of 4 important documents in the migration governance architecture of the Gambia, which were developed by the labor migration thematic working groups under the National Coordination Mechanism on Migration, for which the Ministry of Trade is the lead ministry. These are: 1, we have the labor migration strategy, we have a labor migration plan of action 2022 to 2026, we have the ethical recruitment guideline, and we have a pre-departure training manual. These documents will basically enhance the policy and regulatory frameworks that govern labor migration in the Gambia to reflect and respond to the current realities and effectively speak to the National Migration Policy 2020-2030. They will further promote best practices in ethical recruitment to safeguard the rights of both Gambian migrants, workers, and labor migrants in the Gambia.
The development of this strategy began in April to October 2020 and took a very comprehensive consultation and collaborative approach. This strategy was also guided by several principles, legislative frameworks, and studies including the newly approved National Employment Policy 2022-2026, the global impact for safe, orderly, and regular migration. Also in attendance was the United States Ambassador to the Gambia, Sharon L. Kroma. In her remarks, Ambassador Kroma says it is well known that the Gambia has been a point of origin, transit and destination of migrants for the purpose of employment for decades.
We celebrate the efforts of IOM and the Ministry of Trade, Industry, Regional Integration, and Employment, with support from the United States Bureau of Populations, Refugees, and Migration, and the government of Italy, in developing the 4 foundational policy documents that will strengthen national efforts to combat the exploitation of migrants and halt trafficking in persons in the Gambia. It is well known that the Gambia has been a point of origin and transit and destination of migrants for the purpose of employment for decades. Illegal migration often leads to tragedy.
As the government of the Gambia continues to demonstrate strong political will and commitment to properly manage labor migration and to promote the protection of the rights of labor migrants and their families, including combating discrimination and homophobia, it is also hoped that this strategy will not only contribute to the discussions and ongoing dialogue on labor migration, but enhance existing mechanisms that will guarantee decent work and maximize the socio-economic contributions of migrants in both their countries of origin and destination as envisaged in the Global Compact.
My role today is to present to you these strategic instruments which have already been mentioned: the Labor Migration Strategy, the Labor Migration Action Plan 2022 to 2026, the Ethical Recruitment Guidelines, and Pre-Departure Training Manual for labor migrants, and so officially preside over this launching. This giant step is clear testimony of a tangible outcome of the technical assistance received by the ministry, resulting from genuine partnership and collaboration. I therefore wish to recognize and appreciate the technical assistance from IOM team while encouraging them to look beyond the launching of these invaluable instruments towards the implementation process, both in terms of institutional arrangements and human capacity development.
The labor migration strategy highlights a series of policy gaps in 5 different domains: labor migration statistics, skills and labor migration, social protection and migrant workers, labor migration and remittance, and socio-economic reintegration. Research for the strategy was conducted between April 2020 and October 2020. This strategy draws upon a thorough review of the legal and legislative policy frameworks at the national, continental, and global level. Reporting for Kerr, Fatou, I am Buba Gajigo.